somewhere above the clouds, where commercial flights become distant streaks of light and time bends to the will of wealth, there exists a quieter, more surprising truth about private aviation. Not every private jet in the sky belongs to a billionaire with oil fields or tech empires. In fact, some of them belong to millionaires who made a very calculated decision. They chose freedom. They chose time. But they also chose something unexpected. They chose affordability in a world where affordable still means millions. So the real question is this.
What are the cheapest private jets that millionaires actually buy? Not as a dream, but as a practical luxury. Today, we step inside that world. A world where elegance meets efficiency, and where private aviation is no longer just for the ultra-elite, but for the smart elite. This is Elite World, and this is the story of the top 3 cheapest private jets millionaires actually own. There is a strange misconception about private jets. Most people imagine something massive, like flying palaces with bedrooms, showers, and dining halls in the sky. But reality is far more interesting, because the modern millionaire isn't always looking for size. They're looking for control. Control over time, control over privacy, control over how they move through the world. And that shift has created an entirely new category in aviation: compact private jets that deliver luxury without the billionaire price tag. Let's begin with the most surprising entry in this world.
Number 3, Cirrus Vision Jet. At first glance, it doesn't look like a private jet. It looks like something between a futuristic aircraft and a luxury sports capsule in the sky. But the Cirrus Vision Jet changed everything. This is the world's first single-engine personal jet, and it quietly opened the doors of aviation to a new type of millionaire. The price? Around $2 to $3 million, depending on configuration. In private aviation terms, that is almost entry-level. But don't let the price fool you. Inside, the cabin feels intimate, modern, and surprisingly refined. Soft leather seating, panoramic windows that flood the space with natural light, and a design philosophy focused on simplicity rather than excess. There's even a signature feature that defines it: the parachute system for the entire aircraft. A final safety net that gives owners peace of mind rarely found in aviation.
This jet is not about luxury in the traditional sense. It's about personal independence. Imagine a tech entrepreneur in California. Instead of waiting in airport security lines, he walks from his office directly to a small runway. Within minutes, he is in the sky, flying himself or his pilot across states. That is the reality of the Vision Jet owner. Not a billionaire lifestyle of excess, but a millionaire lifestyle of efficiency. And that's exactly why it sells. Because for many successful entrepreneurs, time is more valuable than space. But as we move forward, the jets become more powerful, more refined, and slightly more indulgent.
Number 2, HondaJet Elite II. If the Cirrus Vision Jet is personal aviation simplified, then the HondaJet Elite II is where engineering meets quiet sophistication. At roughly $6 to $7 million, this aircraft sits in a sweet spot. Not cheap by any normal standard, but incredibly efficient in the private jet world. The first thing people notice about the HondaJet is its design. The engines are mounted above the wings, an unusual configuration that reduces cabin noise dramatically and improves fuel efficiency. And when you step inside, the experience feels almost surreal. The cabin is longer than expected, with a refined layout that feels more like a high-end executive lounge than an aircraft. Premium leather seating, customizable interiors, ambient lighting, and a sense of quiet that makes conversation effortless, even at cruising altitude.
This is where CEOs, startup founders, and entertainment industry professionals often find themselves. Not in oversized flying mansions, but in sleek, intelligent aircraft that match their pace of life. Picture this. A film producer in Los Angeles finishes a meeting at noon. By 12:20, they are in the air, heading to Las Vegas for a deal negotiation. No waiting, no delays, no interruptions, just movement. That's the promise of the HondaJet Elite II. And yet, what makes it special isn't just performance, it's restraint. Because in a world where luxury often screams for attention, the HondaJet whispers. It says, "I have arrived, but I don't need to prove it." But there is still one more aircraft in this journey, and this one is where performance and prestige begin to merge. Number 1. Embraer Phenom 300E. If there is a king in the affordable luxury jet category, it is the Embraer Phenom 300E. This is the jet that quietly dominates executive aviation around the world. Price range? Around $9 to $10 million new, often less on the pre-owned market. Still far from casual spending. But in private aviation, this is considered exceptional value for what it delivers. The Phenom 300E is fast, one of the fastest light jets in production. But more importantly, it feels like a true private airline experience, compressed into a sleek, personal space. Step inside, and the cabin immediately feels more expansive than its class suggests. High-quality materials, fully adjustable seating, elegant interior lighting, and a layout designed for both work and relaxation. Some owners use it like a flying office. Others treat it like a personal escape pod between cities. But almost all of them share one thing in common. They are people who move constantly. Entrepreneurs, investors, medical executives, global consultants, even A-list entertainers who need predictable mobility without the chaos of commercial airports. Imagine a business leader in London closing a deal in the morning, then flying to Zurich for an afternoon meeting and returning home before dinner. That is not luxury in the traditional sense. That is control over geography itself. And that is why the Phenom 300E stands at the top of this category. Not because it is the most expensive, but because it delivers the most complete experience for its price.
Now, when you place these three jets side by side, something interesting becomes clear. The Cirrus Vision Jet represents entry into private aviation, a personal revolution in mobility. The HondaJet Elite II represents refinement, quiet, efficient, and intelligently designed luxury. And the Embraer Phenom 300E represents authority, speed, presence, and global capability. Each one tells a different story. Each one serves a different kind of millionaire. But none of them are about excess. They are about intention.
And this is where the perspective shifts. Because when people think about private jets, they often imagine unlimited wealth and extreme extravagance. But the reality is more grounded. Most private jet owners are not billionaires. They are business owners, founders, professionals who value time more than spectacle. For them, a private jet is not a toy. It is a tool that replaces wasted hours with productivity, a tool that turns distance into opportunity, a tool that reshapes how business and life intersect. And yet, even in this practical world, there is still beauty. The soft hum of engines at altitude, the glow of cabin lights at night, the feeling of watching cities shrink below you as you move toward your next destination. It is not just transportation. It is transformation. So what have we really discovered here? That luxury in aviation is not always about size. It is not always about gold-plated interiors or massive flying palaces. Sometimes luxury is simply the ability to choose, to leave when you want, to arrive when you need, to live without waiting. The Cirrus Vision Jet, the HondaJet Elite II, and the Embraer Phenom 300E all prove one powerful idea: that the future of private aviation is not only for billionaires at the top, but for those who understand that time itself is the ultimate currency. And maybe that is the real definition of modern luxury. Not excess, but freedom. The freedom to move through the world on your own terms. Because in the end, the sky doesn't belong to the richest. It belongs to those who decide their time is worth more than anything else. And that is elite world.